Hey everyone, today's video is about when you have a heart condition and he finds you unconscious. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let's get going. It was supposed to be a very simple day for you. You had promised yourself to take it easy, to not push yourself too hard. But promises like that are very hard to keep when life seems determined to remind you that it doesn't wait for anyone. The first warning sign had been a sharp twing in your chest as you made your way back from the market. You ignored it. You had always tried to brush these things off. Bakugou worried enough for the both of you, and the last thing you wanted was to give him another reason to hover. But by the time you reached your apartment door, your breathing had become shallow and labored. You had barely managed to lock the door behind you before the world tilted, the floor rushing up to meet you. "Oh, I'm back." Bakugou's voice carried through the apartment as he slammed the door shut behind him. You usually hated how he never closed it, gently. But now, that sound was a lifeline, something to anchor you in the haze of semi-consciousness. He kicked off his shoes and dropped his bag by the couch. "You better not have eaten without me, I told you." His words cut off abruptly. There was a beat of silence, followed by the sound of hurried footsteps. "Moyan?" He heard his voice, but it sounded distant, like it was coming from underwater. A shadow loomed over you, and then his hands were on you, shaking you gently but firmly. "Hey, wake up. What the hell?" His voice cracked, a rare crack in his armor of confidence and control. You tried to respond, to tell him that you were okay, but your body wouldn't cooperate. Panic flickered in his crimson eyes as he lifted you into his arms, cradling you against his chest, like you were made of glass. "You're burning up," he muttered, mostly to himself. "Shit, why didn't you call me?" His words were harsh, but his touch was gentle and careful as he carried you to the couch. He grabbed the throw blanket, draping it over you, before his hands found your face again, cupping your cheeks. "Stay with me, okay?" When you finally managed to open your eyes, the first thing you saw was Bakugou's face. His hair was messier than usual, his jaw tight, and his eyes were stormy, filled with worry that he didn't bother hiding. "You're awake," he said, exhaling a breath that he's barely holding. "Thank God." You tried to sit up, but he immediately pressed a hand to your shoulder, gently keeping you down. "Don't even think about it. You're not moving until I know that you're not going to fall again." "I'm fine," you croaked, your voice hoarse. "Bullshit," he snapped, though his grip on your shoulder remained soft. "You passed out. You think that's normal?" You winced, not from pain, but from the way his voice wavered, betraying just how scared he had been. "I didn't want to worry you." "Too late for that, dumbass." He shot back, his tone sharp, but his hand brushing your hair away from your face. "Why didn't you tell me that you weren't feeling good? Or better yet, why didn't you go to the damn doctor?" You sighed, your chest feeling heavy for reasons that had nothing to do with your condition. "I didn't think it was that bad." He scoffed, sitting back on his heels but never letting go of you completely. "You always do this," he muttered, more to himself than to you. "Always acting like you've got to handle everything that comes your way. You're not alone, you idiot." "Bakugou, Katsuki," he corrected, his voice softening just a fraction. "You only call me Bakugou when you're trying to avoid a fight." You couldn't help but smile at that, despite everything. "Katsuki, I'm sorry." His eyes softened further, though he tried to hide it behind a scowl. "Yeah, well, you better be." He stood abruptly, his hands on his hips as he glared down at you. "You're going to go to the hospital. I don't care if you hate it. I'll carry your stubborn ass there myself if I have to." You opened your mouth to protest, but the look in his eyes silenced you. It wasn't just anger or frustration. It was fear. and it hit you then, just how much it had taken him. "All right," you said quietly. "I'll go." He blinked, clearly surprised by your lack of argument. "Good. Damn right you will." The hospital visit was as tedious as you'd expected, with tests and waiting room, and a doctor who told you what you already knew. You needed to be more careful, to listen to your body instead of ignoring its warning signs. Katsuki stayed by your side the entire time, his hand resting on yours as he glared at anyone who looked like they might try to make him leave. He didn't say much, but his presence was enough that it was grounding. When you finally got home, exhausted but stable, he made you sit on the couch while he cooked dinner. He didn't ask what you wanted, didn't even ask if you were hungry. He immediately got straight to it and made something simple and nutritious, plopping the plate down in front of you before sitting down beside you. "You scared the crap out of me," he said, after a long silence, his voice low. "I know." You admit it, poking at your food with your fork. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Just don't do it again." His hand found yours, his grip firm but comforting. "I can't." He stopped, shaking his head. "I just can't, okay?" He squeezed his hand, feeling the weight of his unspoken words. "I promise. I'll take better care of myself. For you." He rolled his eyes. "Do it for yourself, you dumbass." "Well, can I do it for the both of us?" He glanced at you, and for a moment, his expression softened completely. "Yeah, for the both of us." You leaned your head against his shoulder, and he didn't pull away. Instead, he tightened his grip on your hand, a silent promise that he'd be there no matter what. "I can't lose you, Tomas. So don't make me fight the whole world just to keep you here, alright?" He didn't reply. You tried to sleep instead. But if you could, you would have told him the same. That you didn't want to lose him. That you couldn't live in this world without him in your life. He was there for you all the time. And if you lost him once, nothing could ever help you again. And you were going to be probably depressed without him. After all, he was the one that protects you no matter what. And he was always there for you. No matter what happens, he was always by your side. And so you wanted to be the same for him. To be the wall that he leans on when he's tired. He didn't say all that though, and he just slept. But you knew that he could read your mind anyway, and you didn't have to say that. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye!